The legend of the lost Dutchman's mine, and the Peralta Stones are inextricably linked. The entire story supposedly began in 1748 when the Peralta family are said to have started mining silver and gold in the Superstition Mountains. Their lost mine was discovered by the Jacob Waltz, the Dutchman. For over 50 years after the death of Waltz in 1891, treasure hunters followed the ambiguous clues that the Dutchman left behind as to the whereabouts of the mine. Something significant changed in 1949 when the so-called Peralta Stones were discovered in the desert. A Mexican brachero, a legal migrant laborer, was digging fence posts near Black Point, in Pinal County, when he came across a large flat stone. He dug the stone out only to find that it was covered in strange writing. He recognized a Spanish word, Indian petroglyphs, and some Spanish markings. In all, the brachero dug up 3 stones carved with writing and a crude map. The brachero hauled the curious stones into Florence Junction, 3 miles away, where he washed them, and prepared to sell the curious stones to any willing tourist who might come along. Robert G. Tumlinson of Portland, Oregon, turned out to be that tourist. The brachero pocketed the equivalent of a week's wages, and Tumlinson drove off with the stones. Tumlinson went on to Phoenix, to visit his brother. The 2 brothers thoroughly washed the rocks and examined them, determining that what they were looking at was some kind of coded map. Tumlinson spent a number of years in the Superstition Mountains trying to track down clues from the stones. So the real question is, are the Peralta Stones real or fake? For more than 70 years the Peralta Stones have been the subject of heated controversy. Over this time period those who've studied the maps have remained firmly and pretty evenly divided into 2 separate camps. The arguments and counter-arguments run like this. Proposition 1. The Peraltas never mined gold in the Superstition Mountains. Non-believers point out that there are no historical records indicating that the Peralta family carried out mining operations in the Superstition Mountains. Some say that the origin of the legendary Peralta story can be traced to a newspaper article which appeared in the Arizona Daily Herald in 1879. This article described the ordeal of 2 Mexican prospectors, brothers named Miguel and Pablo Peralta, who were attacked by the Apaches west of the Superstition Mountains. Pablo died of his wounds, while the surviving brother was able to carry out a bag of rich-grade gold ore. This incident occurred 30 years after the Peralta Stones were supposedly buried, but was seized upon and altered by a newspaper writer named Pierpont Bicknell in 1895 to liven up a story he was writing about the lost Dutchman's mine. In short, Bicknell invented the story of the Peralta mines in the Superstitions. Bicknell's January 13, 1895, story in the San Francisco Chronicle figured importantly in giving credence to the legend of the lost Dutchman's mine. Bicknell's article also created the foundation for both the story of the legendary Peralta mines, and the later story of the Peralta Stones. Believers point out that it was probably about 1863, when Pablo and Miguel Peralta, both experienced prospectors, came to Arizona. They registered a mining claim on the Agua Fria River a few miles from present-day Black Canyon City, in southern Yavapai County, and approximately 22 miles north of Phoenix. The mine was called the Valenciana. The existence and location of that mine is well documented. Even today the mine is occasionally reworked by prospectors. All of this does not preclude the possibility that some other members of the Peralta family may have mined gold and silver in the Superstition Mountains at an earlier time. Written records in the early 19th century, in this sparsely populated area, were sketchy at best. Peralta was, and is, a very common name in the Southwest. There is archaeological evidence of early Spanish and Mexican mining activity in the area. It is reasonable to assume that some members of the Peralta family may have been involved in mining in the Superstition Mountains, given the size and the prominence of the family. Proposition 2. The Peralta Stones have been examined by a number of experts. Non-believers point out that the Peralta Stones have been examined by experts in various related fields over the years, the most notable being Father Charles Pulzer, a Jesuit priest and a well-known ethno-historian associated with the Southwestern Mission Research Center at the Arizona State Museum. He concluded that, the stone carvings are a hoax of relatively recent origin. Believers point out that the FBI investigated the stones in the 1960s in relation to fraud. The FBI lab's evaluation indicated that the stones were at least 100 years old. The FBI's continuing investigation never linked the stones to any case of fraud. In view of the information provided by the FBI, the stones were covered under the Federal Antiquities Act. A court ordered that the stone maps were to be handed over to a nonprofit organization. The stone maps were donated to the Arizona Mining and Minerals Museum in 1969. Proposition 3. The stones were carved by Tumlinson himself. Non-believers point out that the stones are of modern origin and that Tumlinson carved all of the stones himself. Believers point out that there are 6 authentic Peralta stones, the 3 originally discovered by the Mexican brachero, another heart-shaped stone marked in Latin found near the location of the first find not too long afterward, and 2 stone crosses discovered in 1979 in a mine shaft near Queen Valley, Arizona. The 2 stone crosses fit into a cross outline on the back of one of the red sandstone tablets found in 1949. A 7th stone, a white sandstone tablet, was manufactured by Mr. Tumlinson while he was in possession of the red tablets, and it was made by copying the other maps. The Tumlinson family has confirmed that the 7th stone was manufactured by Tumlinson. Whatever their origins, and whatever their meaning, or lack of meaning, the Peralta stones are as real as stone can physically be. The Peralta stones can currently be viewed at the Superstition Mountain Museum in Apache Junction, Arizona.